Today's video, we're going to talk about Google Ads antitrust issues and how this is making it harder to make money with Google Ads today than it ever was before. Okay, so if you haven't heard recently, obviously Google was labeled as a monopoly by the courts. And this was due to, traditionally they say that they had too much control over the search engine market. Yes, but just because everybody uses your product doesn't mean that's enough for the courts to take action on you. It's when you're abusing in a certain industry. And then as a result of that, harming the general economy. With that said, I'm going to go over what it is that Google's been shown to do, proven to do, through the courts, depositions that they had with Google, and what they admitted to as a result of that applies to you as an advertiser on Google Ads and somebody that's trying to make money for your business running ads on Google Ads. I'm Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a online advertising agency that guarantees results for their clients before charging fees. We're the only agency on the planet who does this, which basically what that means is more profit on your ads before paying the fee, and the fee itself will offset what we charge. And the profit you're making will offset the fee that we charge at our agency. We do this on new and existing campaigns. If you stay to the end of the video, I will go through not just what this is that's going on that Google's changed since 2017 actually, that is going to make it harder for you to make money with your Google ads, but what you can actually do about it to make even more money and have this work to your advantage on the other actual side. So with that said, getting into the content here, the main thing is I broke this out. The way that you can think of what Google is doing is it can be a positive or a negative thing. It can be a positive thing if you understand how Google's taking advantage of their advertisers / customers, and you just don't be the one that gets taken advantage of, whereas your competition gets taken advantage of, which then gives you an edge, versus being clueless to all this and just doing whatever the hell you damn well please, which is I want to advertise however I want and I just expect to make money. You're going to get your ass handed to you trying to do that the way that Google's been for the last 5 years or so. I've talked about on this channel all the time recently about how Google's ad systems all run off an algorithm now. This isn't 2005 anymore when you want to bid on the keyword red shoes and you either show up for it or you don't. Google's split testing the traffic from that search term, which ads should be shown, which shouldn't, should they show any ads at all, should they show 4 ads? And then based upon the person's, if it's a male or female or old or young or whatever, deciding if your ad should show up, this guy's ad should show up, this guy shouldn't, whatever. What websites that person's visited in the past, dictating whether your ad will show up or not. And they're testing all this in real time. So it isn't just you're bidding on a keyword anymore. It's way more complicated than that. And from that, because it's so complicated and they've obfuscated the system, they can actually now tweak things to their advantage to make more and more money. This is actually quite similar to what Uber's recently been called out and shown to have been doing. Uber's, for the first time since they started, hitting profitability with their business. The reason for that is they have algorithmic pricing. You're going to see all kinds of businesses switch over to this, by the way. Fast food restaurants have been doing it, where they mathematically calculate what is the best price to charge somebody based upon that person's individual characteristics, time, and circumstances. Uber is deciding what they're going to pay the driver and what they're going to charge the consumer based upon an algorithm. So they can get the biggest spread between the price charged to the customer and what they're having to pay out in labor, deliver that service to the customer. And so basically what they're doing, are you going to take our work from us for less than you should be taking it, or less than what other people will be willing to take? And more important than that, not just arbitrarily lowering what you're going to get paid across the board, but figuring out, are you willing to take less on a holiday versus non-holiday because you're more desperate and hard up for money, and then taking advantage of that fact of them learning that one individual thing about you. On the consumer side, same thing. Are you willing to pay a little bit more than you should after work versus before work? And then just dynamically deciding, there's mathematical calculations going on all the time to try to decide what people are charged and what they're paid out, the workers are paid out to do that work. As it comes to Google Ads, they've done the same exact thing. Okay, is why Google stock, Alphabet stock that owns Google, keeps going up and up. Naturally, because of the so-called price fixing, if you will, and using algorithmic pricing for deciding what you should be charged for a click. That plus Google, by the way, and getting access to more and more data. Part of the way that they've gotten so rich isn't just that they own the search engine, but they buy data from other companies. They can buy an app that tracks your menstrual cycle, get access to all that data, then identify if somebody searches for red shoes, if they're on their period, they're going to be more willing to buy than if they're not on their period, and then using that to decide how much they're charging you for a click. Yes, it really does go on, okay? So you can either stick your head in the sand and complain about the whole thing or take advantage of it, positive side of this or the negative. You're going to get treatment by Google. Google's going to try to take advantage of who they can, but the key thing is they take advantage of who they care least about, okay? That's the main thing that I'm going to talk about in this video. Just like in your own business, okay? You've got your key employees and then you got your grunts. If the grunts quit, you don't care as much. If the grunts ask for a 10-cent raise, you may not budge because you don't have to, because there's another grunt in line ready to take their job. But more importantly, it's not that hard to replace them and it's not hard to train them up to do that grunt labor. Versus if one of your key employees wants a $10 raise, you may have to buckle because you know it's going to cost quite a bit of money to retrain that person, right? Furthermore, they do a lot more of what drives profit in the business than does the grunt proportionally. There's more value there to the core business. As it comes to advertising on Google Ads, Google has their favorites and the people they don't about or don't really care if you come or go, and you're seen as a commodity, okay? Most people that come to advertise on Google Ads are seen as a commodity by Google, whether you like their product or not. There's always going to be, in their mind, somebody else that's going to come by who wants these clicks. And their business model basically is bring a new guy in, exploit the hell out of him for 90 days or so until he realizes the ads doesn't work, and then just push him out of the way. Like the whole ad management agency business works nowadays. 90% of ad agencies can't get results. They're going to give you to a bonehead to manage your ads until you eventually figure it out. They don't know what, and then you're going to fire them, and they've already got all your money, and they used your money to find the next guy in line. Google's operating functionally kind of the same way. But I support it because what they're doing is actually helping them make more money. So from a business standpoint, it's actually smart. The guys that come in that aren't a very good advertiser, that is, they're not helping their users find what they want any easier than what they were before. They have that nobody wants to click on, they have a website that nobody wants to buy from quickly, which you may say, oh, my website's great. It's the consumer judges it, not you. Do you have high conversion rates to where you're making loads of money from your Google ads? No, your website's probably not that good then. And it's really that simple. It's 70% of the equation, whether you make a lot or little with Google ads. With that said, new guy comes in, and you can see this when you track your own niche. You'll see new guys come in for a little while, then they're out. New guy comes in for a little while, they're out. And again, Google would like to sell all traffic to the person who's new in, because they don't know any better, because the guy that has been advertising for the last 10 years, who's their superstar, they don't want to piss them off and make them go anywhere. They want to roll out the carpet for the guys that are helping their users get the best experience out of Google, so they'll want to click on ads in the future. And the person that doesn't do anything for their users in addition to what's already there, they want to just exploit the hell out of them while they're going to be still around. Why help them? They're probably only going to be there for 180 days anyway. Even if they do okay as an advertiser, they're probably not going to stay around anyway because they don't know how to manage a business. They don't know how to sell. They don't know how to close leads at a high rate. Most businesses don't. That's why they're a small business to start with. Small businesses are small for a reason. Sorry, that may hurt your ego. That's the reality. Because most people don't have what it takes to make a business run properly, because just the advertising and having that work right isn't going to be everything unless you're basically charging a penny a click, and then you can be stupidly inefficient and still make money. They know statistically you're going to come in, last a little while, then you're going to be gone. That isn't worth anything to you unless you show to Google during that time, wait, hey, this guy is not like everybody else. He actually does a great job as an advertiser. Actually, it looks better than the person that we know is our top guy for this keyword and these type of people on Google. So we're going to actually stop treating him like an a-hole, and we're going to get him the good quality traffic, and we're going to charge him less for it to encourage him to stick around as an advertiser. You're either on the side where you don't make any money, or you're on the side that you make a pile. And there's very little middle ground anymore. And therefore, I say all the time on this channel, you either go all the way with it despite you want to fight and kick and scream and scratch. You don't want to actually have to spend a couple hundred hours setting up your ads initially. Or you can be as lazy as you want. As long as you like it, it's okay. And getting on means negative ROI and you're going to be working for free. So I hope you like that. With that whole background now given to on how the system works as a base, if you haven't heard it admitted to now. So this isn't me being a conspiracy-minded person here anymore. I'm glad this came out because it reinforces what I've been saying for years now and nobody else has been saying. You have 4 ads at the top of Google. If you have a person that's in the top ad spot that has more money than advertising chops at the first spot, then you have an average guy. When I say average, I mean click-through rate and conversion rate, because those are the 2 metrics that matter. Nothing else matters. Those are the things that matter to Google in general. You could have an average guy in the 2nd spot on average. You could have an average guy in the 3rd spot on average, and then you could have an average guy in the 4th spot on average, okay? What Google's admitted that they've done, okay? Google, it's called, in their literature, they call it squashing. They literally are, I call it getting, but you can call it squashing if you want, the legal term. The politically correct way of saying it. What they're gonna do, what a lot of people want to do is just spend more money on their ads if it ain't bringing in enough customers, because they're too damn lazy or arrogant to set up their ads correctly to help their users out more than the other advertisers that are there, okay? So if you're that guy who's willing to piss away money because you want to stick your damn heels in the ground and not make your ads any better, what Google's gonna do to make more money is Google's gonna push you down from that first position. And being in that first position, you probably rely on a certain amount of business coming in from that to support the overhead that you have in your business. They push you down to the 3rd position, so you're getting half as many clicks as you had before. Okay, so therefore, and if you're relying, like a lot of people that are very short-minded, which will, once they get one advertising channel working for their business, they start spending all their money on blow and hookers and everything else, instead of getting a 2nd and a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th channel working in case the first one doesn't work one day. And it's not a matter of if, it's just when. Whether it's today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's always changing. It's actually changing faster all the time. So they get half as many customers as they had before, okay? That will encourage, and they'll artificially push up the 2nd place guy to the 1st place with no unmerited, okay? And the 3rd guy to the 3rd position, to the 2nd position, and the guy that was on top to the 3rd position. They're gonna do that arbitrarily for a week or 2, just enough for you to notice that your business is down and you're now at a net negative ROI on your advertising campaign because you got guys that are idle, or production staff that are idle, or what have you. Then you go complaining to your PPC guy, Corey, why is the advertising not working? Why is it not working? And then I say, well, things fluctuate sometimes. This is run off of an algorithm. And then some people, they either don't want to believe it and they think I'm lying to them, or they want to actually fix it short term. Do what you got to do to make it work, because I can't be running at a loss. Let's raise our bids, okay? We raise our bids 100% to get back up on top again, keep the business coming in. We raise our bids 100%, we have 30% more sales coming in on a 100% bid increase to put us back on top, so we had the volume we had before, or at least at the minimum volume we had before, I should say. So now your ROI is, basically half of what it was before. You're getting the volume, but your ROI is less, okay? But the volume, you need a certain amount of volume to keep the overhead you have to justify it. So you'd rather take less ROI on more volume, in other words, less volume at a better ROI. They got you at that point. Because you're gonna say, if I lower my bids back down, I'm not gonna get the volume I wanted anymore. This is the new normal. I've got to spend more per click than I did before to make sure I got that volume, okay? So they're arbitrarily playing, this is an entrainment device. You can Google what entrainment devices are. You can manipulate somebody through game theory just by doing simple little positive reinforcement tactics, where if you want to basically brainwash somebody, you show them something and you give them positive reinforcement after it, just like you're training a dog. They will learn that anytime that they want to be happy, that to do X, Y, and Z. In this case, it's just anytime you want more business, you've been trained to do that, you raise your bids, not to be better. And actually, Google loves that. They want a customer ultimately that just is willing to spend more and more and more. because that's what makes them more money. Not be more efficient. That's why the Google reps that reach out to you just want you to spend more money, or anything they suggest is just about spending more money, not about doing more physical work, setting up more ads to be more relevant to people and all that. They just want a guy that they can convince to raise their budget and actually ultimately not lose money, or lose money because they're spending so much for the same customers. That's squashing. They're going to take a guy who they think they can get to where they'll spend more money per click to get the same amount of customers, push them down temporarily to get them to panic so that they'll raise their cost per click to get back to where they were before. And now they're paying more per click to get it. Whereas before, they couldn't get them to raise their cost per click because they didn't have the burning desire to get those customers like they had before, and if you will. Because maybe they could convince that guy to spend more per click and get more customers. That drive is not nearly what it is taking away customers from a business and having a reward set up that if they raise their bids, they're going to get the customers back that they did before because of overhead. A lot of guys use pay-per-click just as like a way to cover their overhead so that if their guys aren't busy, they crank up the ads. They don't even use it to make money. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. That is what they're doing on an ongoing basis, and they've been doing for several years now, okay? If you're stupid enough to fall for it, and should I say, just be the person who doesn't want to actually evolve as an advertiser and just be the only thing that dictates whether you're going to get more customers or not out of Google Ads is you're spending more. Because if you're willing to spend more to get more customers from Google Ads, Google's going to bend you over big time, basically. The better way to go about doing things is, as I talk about on this channel all the time, and yes, it does serve me a little bit that people want to have to be better in terms of their tactics to be more efficient, because that's what we do for clients at our firm. And, ultimately that's where we butter our own bread, if you will. If you don't become more efficient, you're going to be the one that gets their ass handed to them because of, like they've admitted that they literally do. So this isn't like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to you. Do you want it to happen or not? Yes or no? You're fine with it? But the problem with just being okay with it, by the way, is once they see, going back to entrainment devices, once they see you're willing to spend more to maintain that level of customers, they're going to yank you again and yank and yank and yank until you've been bled dry. You could complain about Google all day long, all you want. At the end of the day, Google has the customers that you know you want, and they got you by the balls, and complaining ain't going to fix anything. Your defense is, where you can complain and do something about it, is being so good that Google says, going back to what I was mentioning before, you're that key employee that you can't be fired. That no matter what, that employee says they need XYZ or you need to do XYZ, you're going to jump. You're just going to ask how high. Ultimately, Google has people in a market that are like that, where their click-through rates on their ads are double what anybody else's is. And their conversion rates are double what anybody else's is because they work really, really, really hard to hire the top guys if they don't have the skills themselves to find out what ad is going to do that well and that landing page is going to do that well in their market and blow everybody away. That guy they don't want to lose. Why? Going back to what I said before, is they're trying to get people to want to click on ads in the future from people that just were willing to spend the most money to get the ad spots. People would slowly realize that the ads overall on Google Ads, and they would just stop clicking on ads. And so it wouldn't matter short term that they earned more money, because long term they would not make any more money. It really would be cutting off your hand to save your arm, if you will. What they have to do first and foremost over everything else is find advertisers that help the user get a better experience, because that's going to increase the number of people who use the ad space versus the organic versus not using Google at all, using another search engine. You have to be so good that they won't push their luck. They won't ask that key employee to do 3 times as much work as they did before because they may get pissed off and quit, or not give them the yearly raise because they get pissed off and quit. You got to be that good. Once you've done that, okay, you're the number one position. You've got a great setup, not an average setup. And the second guy in the line has an average setup. Third guy in line has a bad setup. Fourth guy in line has an average setup. What they are going to do then, instead of taking advantage of you, if you've got the great setup, they're going to take advantage of the number 2 guy that they can get away with shitting on, because if you leave, they've got someone to replace you. Okay? They're going to take the guy with the bad setup, push you in the number 2 spot, push you down to the 3rd spot, cut into your customer flow, get you to try to hopefully panic and increase your bids to get back to the second position, now you are at a new normal. Got it? So, which, by the way, I talk about all the time on this channel as well. How and not to panic when it comes to running your ads. It seems like, though, no matter how much I say it, it never totally sinks in to clients I've had for 10 years. Your sales are down for 2-3 days. Don't panic, because if you panic, you're gonna have to make a change. That change is gonna create negative volatility in your account because of how the ads are run. They're run off of an algorithm. The algorithm doesn't like change. But you also got this now that we know for sure happens, which they're gonna try to manipulate your customer flow to see if they can take advantage of you. Okay. We also know, by the way, when you start advertising, they're going to give you better placement than you deserve to get you a taste of making money, and then right after that, knock you back down, because once you've got a taste of making money, you're more likely to advertise longer. Instead of trying it for 2 weeks and quitting, you'll try it 3 months and quit. They've got this thing down to a science of how to manipulate and maximize revenue out of advertisers that want their ad spots on Google. So whether, instead of being the pawn in Google's game, be the king by being better. Better ads, better landing pages. And by the way, even if you aren't an advertising expert, you can do that in most markets where at least when there's not tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars a year on the line. Because in those markets, you're not going to get by just by being more relevant. Being more relevant is the answer. And when you are, just to give you a basic example, if you're a plumber, instead of just advertising on the keywords plumbers, broken toilet repair, drain opening service, all the keywords with one ad that says plumber company, Dallas, and driving them to your homepage. If they search for bathroom sink unclogging service, you have a damn ad that says bathroom sink unclogging service. And you drive them to a page that has a bathroom sink unclogging service landing page on it, and it says that immediately right when they get to the page in the headline. And it shows some guy cleaning out a bathroom sink. This is basic stuff, but nobody wants to do it because they're so damn lazy, and frankly, nobody's telling them what they need to hear. Their PPC guy is telling them what they want to hear, therefore, nothing gets changed. I'm here to tell you that stuff matters just as much as just knowing you could have 50 years of experience writing ads. And I'm still going to be beat by the guy who just gives the user exactly what they were looking for over my ad writing experience. So that, you don't even need experts to do that. It's just going to take time to set it up, which, yes, takes a lot of time to set it up. Now you're going to be important to Google. You're not going to be the target of their games, basically. Now, one thing I also do want to say, there's some other YouTubers who are talking about how if you use manual bidding, whatever, this is a way to get around the system of getting screwed over by them, or should I say manipulated, because, hey, if you're making money from Google in terms of profit, they're not really screwing you. At the end of the day, you could be making nothing. So, well, you can't complain too much. But I do want to say, in addition to being more relevant, the way that you win is being better so Google you're not replaceable. Okay? There's a lot of other small details that are just turnkey things that always generally work that you can do, and I've got a list of dozens of them. If you want all that information, it's completely for free. It's on this channel. So you should subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because all the information I give you is the stuff we use to get guaranteed results for our clients at our firm. Most of the information you're going to find elsewhere on YouTube is just people that don't run ads, that are trying to sell you a course and really don't do anything. Therefore, the information's wrong if you don't know anything about advertising, which is why they get by doing what they do. If you want to get advice from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing, then you want the information that's on this channel. Furthermore, you should check out my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has actual step-by-step instructions to execute the strategies we're using to guarantee results for our clients as well there. So if you like the channel, you're going to like the blog as well. But you definitely should be doing that. You should furthermore, if you don't even know if you should be using Google Ads or if it's right for you or whatever, leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every person in the comment section generally within 24 hours. And actually, I don't care if it's about advertising, could just be about marketing, could be about business strategy. I get back to everybody. I do that as a way of saying thank you for watching the channel and helping the channel grow. With that said, back into what I was saying here, I won't name drop here, but there's one other PPC firm that has talked about price fixing, Google's price fixing that they're admitting to, and they are saying instead of using smart bidding, you should be using manual bidding, and that's the way to get around Google's games here as I described it. What I'm telling you here is that does not matter. Manual bidding ain't gonna fix anything. Manual bidding is not gonna fix anything. They're just going to arbitrarily increase your cost per click if they want to, or decrease it. Once you're addicted to their system and you got to have customers like to feed your business and the overhead that you have in your business, they got you by the balls and they know it. So if you go to manual bidding as a way to try to stop them from charging you more per click, all you're going to do is just start getting shown less. The person that is talking about Google's price fixing, I respect the guy on a lot of the stuff that he's saying, but this absolutely does not address this squashing technique that Google's doing to try to get more out of their advertising program, if you will. Instead of just raising the cost per click for everybody, they find who can be taken advantage of that they don't give a shit about, raise their cost per click as a way of trying to create urgency and desperation in people, then capitalize on that desperation. It's almost like the guys who do click fraud. I talk about click fraud on this channel a lot. It's become such a huge issue in the last couple of years. That is, people clicking your ads to try to drain your budget. Usually can be competitors. There's lead sellers that all their businesses are is to sell leads to other businesses. They'll run ads on Google search, get the lead, then sell it to somebody else at a higher price. What they'll do is come into a market, click fraud out of all the other people in that market, clear the space for them, then run their own ads, then call you up saying, hey, I got leads, when you're already desperate for leads. This is exactly, oh, not exactly, pretty damn close to what Google's doing here. They're getting rid of your sales and then selling you customers when you're at your most vulnerable point, basically. Or if you want to think about it, it's like selling how drug dealers operate when they give you a free sample. Once you're hooked, you're done. Now they can jack up the prices all they want. I probably shouldn't be saying all this on Google's platform, but anyway, at the end of the day, Google, you can't argue with me because I'm trying to get people to make their ads better. And if they do that, people will want to use click on ads. People got to hear the unfortunate truth to be able to improve here, that simply doing whatever they need to do, and then if they want more customers, they spend more, isn't the answer. That people, for some reason, would rather, by the way, spend more money on ads than pay a pay-per-click professional. They absolutely hate paying a pay-per-click professional. They have no problem spending more on the ads. The psychology, I think, is the ads have value, advice doesn't. Or proportionally speaking, the value from more ads is way more value per dollar than somebody's advice on how to make ads better. When the reality is, you'll get more out of making your ads better than you will spending more money on it because of what I just said here. This isn't a closed loop system anymore. They're going to arbitrarily give you customers, take them away, give you the customers back, take them away again. They're going to do these games they're going to play these games to you. So if you don't want to constantly be taking it in the behind in terms of your profitability of your business, because one day you have 100 customers a week and then the next week you have 20 because Google's just arbitrarily see if they can get you to bend at the knees, you need to be better. That's the only way this gets fixed. You may say, oh, they're going to do it to me anyway if I'm a good advertiser. I'm telling you, if you want to minimize how much they're screwing you around, you need to be a better advertiser. I know this because this is my full-time job doing and getting results on Google Ads. I see how the system operates. Another thing I talk about all the time is how when you start advertising, they send you traffic that doesn't convert very well. You could target the keyword red shoes. The conversion rate you get on that keyword will be 0.25% the first week. You do everything you need to do to be a better advertiser than your competition for that keyword. You'll get it up to 3% after 9 to 12 months of breaking in your ad. Google tries to send the higher to more likely person to convert to the person they want to encourage to stick around. Going along with that, you have to agree with me that if they're going to try to play games to get a bit more revenue out of somebody, they're going to do it to the guy who's probably not going to be around next month. Not the guy who, and they're treating him well because they want to encourage that person to actually stick around. So nobody's talking about this elsewhere online. This is not going away. Of course, government might be able to break up Google's search dominance by making Android devices not be able to have the default browser be Google. But Google itself, this ain't changing. So either going to be a victim or you're going to benefit from it, either or. It's up to you. It's your decision. And crying and whining about the system the way that it is futile. Ultimately, beyond this content, if you want somebody that can set your ads up better so you're not in that vulnerable position, so you are the king of customers, looked at it as a king instead of a pawn. You need to do better, like I said. Well, how do you do that? Well, you could do all this. You could read the content on my blog, watch the channel, or you could just reach out to me. and I'll tell you how much we can get you in terms of results with a guarantee. That's all you got to do is reach out to us at guaranteedppc.com, and I would be happy to have a conversation with you about the topic of getting you results and making all this happen for your business with just simply writing a check and paying for the setup that you need from somebody who's set up hundreds of these setups and gotten the results consistently over the last 10 years. We also sell templates. So if you don't like the idea of working with ad agencies, you can actually take on and buy our template from us if we've already worked in your niche market. We've worked in over 200 different niche markets in the last 10 years, of which, for example, plumbing, we've worked in that market. If you're a plumber, it's to your benefit completely to just take the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your niche market, copy paste all those into your account, get the same results we are in a different geographic area. Because you can get it all at once and for a one-time fee. These templates work so good, by the way, we are selling them to people who are selling leads to other people, which we've had many people do that now since I started offering them. We also have people that want to get into e-commerce, they don't know how, or they failed at it. The easiest way to make money in e-commerce is to take a template that we know works to sell a certain item, sell it in a different geographic area than our client's in, and have turnkey results with it. That's truly the easiest way to make it work because you know what campaign will sell it, and you know that it will sell profitably before you ever even go 1 inch forward into starting a business like that. Way better than just saying, let's just try randomly this or this or this, or at least go with the proven before you go ahead and do all the speculative stuff. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those opportunities, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com as well. With all that said, okay, if you want to know, as I mentioned, earlier part of this video, I would say how much this is going to make you if you go ahead and get on the one side of this versus the other. The difference between being relevant, having unique ads and landing pages and all that for your different traffic sources on Google search ads, if we're just talking about that, let alone YouTube ads and all that, which there's way more potential even doing that. The difference in profitability will be at least 5 to 10 times more doing it the way that I'm saying versus what your typical average everyday person's going to do with their 15-minute setup on a campaign. And this is standard, okay? We're just to simplify it, we're talking 10 times. This is our routine increase in profitability where, let's say you're a foundation repair company. You're coming in, you're paying $300-400 a lead like we had a client do recently. We're going to come in and we're going to get everything set up to pay way less per lead, click-through rates through the roof in comparison, conversion rates through the roof in comparison. We're going to be paying $70 a lead once everything is broken in, doing things and having unique ads for each keyword, unique landing pages for each keyword, understanding how to make landing pages because we've made hundreds of them before, and how to guarantee people's results using those. Understanding that what people want. When people want foundation repair, they don't want to see foundation repair Dallas. They want to see foundation repair the name of the suburb they're in because they want to know, can you do it and do you cover their area and can they trust you? They trust us because we know statistically what people want to hear for that, which is we've been in business since 2004 or we're A+ BBB rated. And just by understanding what people want and giving it to them, not even getting fancy with our wordplay, we're going to get 15% of people to click through our ad versus the standard 3-4%, which is going to be able to get you at least 5 times as much profit from the same market doing things the typical way most people do. And instead of getting 5 or 6% of people to call when they click on that ad, which is what we would have before, why it costs $400 a lead, we're going to get 30% conversion rates. That's where your 5 to 10x in profitability is going to come from. Just by mostly being more relevant and understanding what your consumer wants and actually giving it to them. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and I'll see you in the next one.
Remember when I said Google Ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.